Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Wilhelm Scream, and welcome back to another day in Destiny 2 for some more Destiny 2 news and Witch Queen Season of the Haunted intel. And we're about 2 weeks into this season. Hopefully everybody's been enjoying it. I actually have quite a bit more than last season. I think the Duality Dungeon has really added some good spice to the mix, and I think the fact that we got Iron Banner with its rework so early, even though there were some criticisms about the actual game type, I actually found that I enjoyed it, especially if I was playing with a full team. Big shout out to the Iron Lords podcast, the clan that I roll with. They really made it a lot of fun. We had a full group the other night. It was pretty awesome playing with all my buddies. So I actually did find that I enjoyed Iron Banner quite a bit more than I had previously. But in today's video, we're going to be talking about several things. Some glitches, of course, and a couple of weapons that you're probably going to want. Also, a bunch of glitches on how to get those weapons, especially for solo players. So, if you're interested in some free exotics, please stick around. But before I get into all that information, I just want to remind everybody, I'm still doing the giveaways on my YouTube channel. Every 1,000 subscribers, we just passed 60,000. All you have to do to be entered into that giveaway or any other future giveaway on this YouTube channel is like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on the notifications, that bell that's right next to the big red subscribe button, and follow me on Instagram or Twitter. They'll be linked in the description box down below. Or you can leave a comment in the comment section or any of the hashtags listed directly beneath this video down below for another entry into that giveaway for this video. And remember, those secret hashtags or a comment stack between all videos, so if you haven't done this on a previous piece of content on this channel, you can always go back, check out another video, and of course, do it again. So recently, I've gotten a whole bunch of questions based on a previous video I did about how to get almost everything in the game for free because of a glitch currently. Now, this might be something you want to actually work on pretty quick, because at the time of posting this, we're about 24 hours away from another reset. Now, on reset day, there tends to be maintenance. So if this gets fixed tomorrow, then, well, a lot of this isn't going to be as easy. Some of it will obviously still apply and will forever still apply to all the things we're going to talk about, but a major one might be gone. And just a brief recap, the major glitch that I'm talking about that's going to help you get all kinds of free stuff, exotics as well as Ascendant Shards and other materials, is the collections glitch currently. All you have to do this glitch is go to your collections tab, go over to armor, go down to leveling, and on the second page, on the bottom row, regardless of what class you're on, it's always this bottom row on the second page, you'll find a blue set of armor. Now, of course, the name will be a little bit different depending on what class you're on. For me, it's the Inspector's set. I can't remember what the Hunter and Titan set was, but you'll know it because it's always this bottom row, and there's usually this one single bond sort of sitting here separating it from the rest of the rows. Simply buy as many of these pieces of armor as you can carry. They're only 777 glimmer. Very cheap, and you're going to be getting some of that glimmer back. Go back over to your character screen and then delete it. And you'll notice that you get 3 legendary shards for a blue piece of gear as well as 250 glimmer back. So this is the greatest farm probably in the history of Destiny 2, or at least in recent memory. Certainly the best exchange. And actually, I think on some of the other classes, for some reason I've heard on Titan, you actually get 4 legendary shards back. But that might just be certain people. I've heard about it in my comments. So some people are actually getting 4 legendary shards each time they delete one of these pieces of armor. But it doesn't have to be bonds. It can be any of them. So just load up and get as many legendary shards as you possibly can, because when you have free legendary shards, everything else becomes available. Now, like I've said in previous videos, the added bonus to this glitch is that whenever you delete a piece of gear, you're also getting Banshee 44 Gunsmith rep, so that's helping you get legendaries from him. Also, every single time you delete a piece of gear, you have a chance to get Finest Matter Weave or Rainmaker. This will, of course, help you get more Glimmer. This will help you get enhancement cores. So obviously having a ton of legendary shards lets you buy a lot of enhancement cores anyway, and Ascendant shards and all the other materials you might need by simply heading over to Master Raoul. But the price is pretty high, so you can buy them here if you want. You also can get Ascendant Alloy, enhancement prisms. On a good day like today, you can actually buy most of the planetary materials for legendary shards and then trade those in for more Glimmer if you run out. For example, you can just buy Berry and Boughs and then get Glimmer and then go do the farm again. You can even macro all of this stuff if you're on a PC. Might be a slightly complicated macro, but if you're just trying to farm out the legendary shards, it's actually pretty easy. It's just simply to collection this down to the armor, buy, delete, 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 that kind of thing. It might be a 2-minute macro. So you could actually AFK this farm. But like I said, tomorrow there is going to be a reset, and there's usually a maintenance at reset, so this might be gone. It did survive last week's reset, which was a shock to me and probably a lot of people. Now, I've also heard that, of course, you don't really want to be paying that much for these things. I've heard other people in my comments talk about how you can't really get enhancement cores efficiently this way, even though you can. I mean, I get it. It's 30 legendary shards, which, even though you have a free farm, essentially, doesn't necessarily want to be spent. But because you get the Finest Matter Weave, every single yellow bar enemy, once you activate Finest Matter Weave, every yellow bar enemy that you kill has a chance to possibly drop an enhancement core. And in my last video, I talked about how you can go to the moon, and there are these sort of scattered rune chests just in patrol. They switch locations, but there's usually one in every zone. All you have to do is find that rune chest. These are chests that have corresponding runes on the wall around where the chest can be found, that when you shoot them in order, based on the ones that are already posted on the chest. So there'll be runes on the chest, and then corresponding runes in the room. You have to shoot the runes left to right from how they appear on the chest, and you will be able to open the chest. If you do it in the wrong order, a yellow bar enemy will spawn. That yellow bar enemy can be farmed. All you have to do is, every time you kill one, make sure that you have a Finest Matter Weave equipped, and they have a chance to drop an enhancement core. It's usually 1 for every 2 kills. If they don't drop an enhancement core, just shoot the wrong rune again. It appears every 10 seconds or so, and you can equip a Finest Matter Weave every 20 seconds, so there's really no time in between this farm. Kill the enemy, see if it drops one. If it doesn't, do the wrong rune again, kill it again, and I guarantee you, you won't go 2 enemies or 3 max without getting an enhancement core, which is why I have a ton. So you're also getting free Finest Matter Weave, as I said, from deleting that gear, so essentially it's also free enhancement cores. You can also get free enhancement prisms that way, or Ascendant Alloy, because it's just legendary shards. I get it, it's a lot, but it's free. Free enhancement prisms as well. You can also use the upgrade glitch to transfer enhancement prisms into enhancement cores, but that, of course, loses you some enhancement prisms. You can buy them here, again, for enhancement cores, 10 each, but when you're getting that many, it makes everything cheaper. One little change like this can make everything cheaper. But I've digressed into a previous video once again. The real reason everybody's here is for free exotics. So, over in the Tower Exotic Kiosk, we got some really good stuff, and some things that are actually pretty broken at the moment. The ones that I'm going to focus on are those that require either a lot of materials or the coveted Spoils of Conquest, which can only be found in raids. It has to be either the raid that's given for any week, as we have rotation now for raids. You'll be able to get Spoils of Conquest on boss kills, unfortunately not on chests. only on boss kills, but you can also get Spoils of Conquest from Vault of Glass and the new raid. So ones that I think people might be interested in are Polaris Lance, because Solar 3.0 is pretty over the top at the moment. There's so many good builds you can do with it, and this has some unique interactions with Solar 3.0 as you get that precision hits, load an explosive round, so you can get that sort of multiple explosion thing, and with certain 3.0 artifacts, it's quite good. We have the Sleeper Simulant, which might not be super meta at the moment, I'm not totally sure, but it's a great weapon to have all around. It's done some amazing, well, it's had some amazing seasons in the past where it just did uber damage. Always one that I think is worth having, and regardless of the season, I think is always kind of good. Linear fusion rifles seem to be pretty good right now. This is a solar one, so I would definitely keep that in mind. We have the Legend of Acreus. Not really something that I think most people are going to be chasing at the moment. Could be wrong, but this one does require Spoils of Conquest. We also have Outbreak Perfected, which seemed to be very good in the new raid at the beginning of the season, though I think the meta's changed a little bit since then, but might still be something you're wanting if you don't have it already, as it is a fairly unique weapon. This one requires Dusklight Shards, an Ascendant Shard, 2 of them, which are going to be pretty easy to come by with that legendary farm, and an Exotic Cipher. Same thing with these two. This one requires Spin Metal Leaves, and this one Barian Boughs. Barian Boughs are actually available today. Heading over to the next page, we have a few more things that I think people will be interested in. Obviously here, which is great now, is you can buy the Exotic Ciphers that you might need for Glimmer. You can hold 3 max, but it's going to be enough to get you at least a few things that you want. We have the Ace of Spades, which I think could also be really good with Solar 3.0 at the moment. Maybe even thrown together with, see if I have it on me. Oh, I don't have it on me. The Exotic Chess Piece, which, here, let me just quickly show you which one I'm talking about. Gives you a little bit extra, the Chromatic Fire. That paired with the Ace of Spades could be super deadly with Solar 3.0. So I think people will be probably looking into builds with that if they haven't already. Maybe for PvP, but I think also PvE. We have the Jotun, and that's right, I said Jotun, not Jotun, because it's pronounced Jotun. This I've seen a lot of people using again. I always loved this weapon. This was actually the first one that I bought from the Exotic Kiosk when it became available through here. Super good, I think, with most Solar 3.0 builds. I think you can do a lot with this. I think it's great for AoE. It's good for PvP, but I've always used it more for PvE, but it's just a fun, unique weapon to use. So I think that's going to be something that a lot of people are interested in. Izunagi's Burden is never a bad thing to have, especially since we have the Garden of Salvation raid back in rotation. This was super meta for that, especially for, I think it's the second encounter. And then over here, we have probably the thing I think most people are going to want right now, because it is either stealth buffed or it's just broken at the moment. But the Anarchy is once again one of the best weapons for PvE, in my opinion, in the game, simply because it is doing crazy extra damage, way more than it should be doing at the moment. And I think it's kind of a mystery of why this is. Either it got buffed or it's just bugged. But in either case, it's something that I think most people are going to want, especially for the new Duality Dungeon, which requires a lot of AoE, as well as something that can do some good boss damage. And I think right now I was seeing it was doing like 18,000 per tick of damage, or 36,000 per tick of damage, something way higher than it should be doing. So this is something that could help you with some AoE, as well as for a boss in the dungeon or in any other activity that you might be running that has a lot of enemies. Still the raid, possibly. I think people be interested to try it out. But I definitely think it's one to have, even if it wasn't doing this kind of damage. Just because, again, it's a very unique weapon. It's been super powerful in the past. It will be again for straight up meta. I know there'll be a point where, you know, the seasonal mods for champions will correspond with this. But right now, it's just bugged crazy damage. So I think it's something everybody should want. And then Teraba is also something I think might be interesting with Solar 3.0. So another one to keep an eye on. Both of these require Spoils of Conquest, so a little bit more difficult to get than some of the others, which we could just do sitting in the tower right now. These are going to require a little bit extra, well, a few more extra steps in getting some Spoils of Conquest. But I'm going to show you that and the glitches of how any solo player can farm up Spoils of Conquest without really having to do the raid at the end of the video. So a couple of glitches there that we'll cover, but that'll be towards the end. One more thing, let's just keep going through. We have on the next page the Ariana's Vow, always a good weapon, especially because of the fact that it can break barrier champions' shields. So it's kind of a sniper rifle essentially that you can take with you. I've always found that this is sort of a good go-to if you're doing Grandmaster Nightfalls. We're not doing any of those yet, but towards the end of the season, of course, we will be. Just kind of a good go-to for activities like that, ones that are super difficult. And then over here we have the Wither Horde. This is another go-to. Really good right now. Really good for, well, I've seen a lot of people using it in Iron Banner actually, but it's just great AoE. Always good to have, especially for duality. I've seen people use it in the new raid. It's just one of those weapons that, you know, like, what should we use? You know, you get that question a lot before you go into any activity, especially if you're running in a group of 3, if you're not a solo player. But even if you are, this is just one of those go-tos. I have a buddy, Lord Kaibatsu, who will always use this weapon regardless of what we're doing, for better or for worse. But in any case, it's never a bad one to have. And I usually kind of side with him when he says, I'm going to bring the Wither Horde. I go, yeah, that sounds good. Can always use a little bit more AoE. I've seen Tommy's Matchbook be used with some solar builds, though I think there are other options. Devil's Ruin I haven't seen really used that much this season, but I'd be curious to see how this actually plays with Solar 3.0. They don't seem particularly strong at the moment, even though sidearms are in the artifact mod shelf this season. Our last row, we have Aegir's Scepter, we have Lorentz Driver, we have the Cryo Synthesis, I'm always saying this wrong, 77k, and we have Tiku's Divination, which I think might actually play really good with Solar 3.0, and then we have Duality. Duality, some reason, not good in the Duality dungeon. Might missed opportunity there, Bungie. But I have seen some people use Tiku's Divination in it, actually do quite a bit of damage, especially with the Solar 3.0. So some more things to possibly look at. Nothing requiring Spoils of Conquest in this row. And then down here we have the new exotic, the Grand Overture, which, again, most of these could be required simply by doing that glitch with the legendary shards, but if there's any that you want and you want to make your life a lot easier to get it, 24 hours is really what you're working in, just to be sure. I'm not saying it's going to be gone by tomorrow. Like I said, it did survive. This is the legendary shard glitch I'm talking about. Last week's reset, but I don't know what's going to happen after that. And then, of course, we have the legendary weapons, the classic legendary weapons, which none can really, I think, be upgraded at this moment. But because Iron Banner has gotten rid of all its power, well, it's they've gotten rid of power altogether in Iron Banner. Some of these are actually pretty good again, so, you know, might be worth checking them out. Notably the Mountaintop, which I still haven't acquired. But some good stuff in here altogether. Maybe one day I'll do sort of a rank of what I think of all of these. But like I said, most of these will be available just by doing that legendary shard glitch, at least quite a bit easier than they would be normally. But now for the ones that aren't, or well, the ones that require some spoils of conquest, you really only have two options if you're a solo player. You have a lot more if you're playing in a group. But just to go to the map really quick, if you are a solo player, your options are really either do the Vow of the Disciple, the new raid, and there is a way that you can get spoils of conquest on 3 characters very easy in this raid solo. It doesn't require a glitch, it just requires a little bit of patience, but you can do it within 15 minutes on all 3 characters. It's the first secret chest in the Vow of the Disciple. All you have to do is beat the sort of little mini boss at the beginning, which is very easy because it's just kind of a way to slow you up, but doesn't take very long. Once you beat the mini boss, you just have to find several points. I'm going to demonstrate all of this, of course, that will open the secret chest if you don't know it already, and you can get 5 spoils of conquest from that secret chest on each character. So that's 15 that you can stack up solo. If you are a solo player and willing to maybe ask, I know that a lot of people are just kind of, as solo players, they're not really interested in maybe even having interactions with people they don't know, and I get that, but if you are willing to, at the very least, try to get a checkpoint for the the final boss in Vow of the Disciple, it'd be the last checkpoint before the actual boss encounter. You don't actually have to defeat the boss. You can actually glitch back to the second secret chest entirely solo. Now that does require a little bit of out of bounds glitching, but it's a pretty easy one to get to. There's not a lot of the ways to get outside of the map are quite a bit easier. So I know that might not be something that even solo players are interested in, but if you are able to get that final checkpoint, it does allow you to get at least another 15 spoils of conquest every week as a solo player, so that would be 30 that you can get just from the Vow of the Disciple. And the only other option that you're going to have is for the Vault of Glass. Now, the Vault of Glass has several secret chests in it. All can be reached as a solo player, but some require some real skill, specifically some sparrow flying. So if you're not someone who can sparrow fly or do it proficiently, you're really only going to be able to get 15 spoils of conquest total from the Vault of Glass every week from the first secret chest, but you can get those 15. It requires you doing a glitch on all 3 characters. This one is a little bit more complicated. The timing takes some practice, but know that it is not patched. People ask me all the time, is this patched, because they have trouble doing it. It's not. It just takes patience. One tip I would give people who are playing on PC, and sort of an added advantage that they have over players that are playing on console, though this can be done on everything, is that if you can lower your frame rate down to 30 frames per second, it makes it a lot easier to glitch out of the map using the method that will be shown for this particular this particular chest. It just makes the clipping points a little bit easier, and you can get through in 1 or 2 tries. Whereas if you're on a console, or if your frame rate is really high, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. All consoles, I believe, are at 60 frames for this particular thing. So might be a little bit more trial and error, but for the most part, everybody should be able to do this with a little bit of practice. So that's really going to be it for all the information in this video. I will now sort of cut to some clips of me actually acquiring these spoils of conquest so that you can hopefully over at least a couple of weeks start earning, even if you're a solo player, the ability to get something like the Anarchy, which I know it's something everybody wants and not everybody has. But in any case, if it's not something you just want another exotic available from the exotic kiosk, of course, you have at least a day left to do the amazing, once more, legendary farm, which I can't really talk about enough. This is the type of thing that literally I'll wait years to come into the game, and it's so easy versus ones that we've had similar to this in the past. This one is just as simple as it comes, and the rewards are just so great. So use it while it lasts, because who knows if we'll ever see anything quite this broken ever again. Stick around for those clips on me glitching and getting some spoils. Hopefully you found something in this video helpful. Thank you all so much for watching today and subscribing. Please remember to leave a comment down below or a hashtag to be entered into future giveaways for this video. And as always, I am Wilhelm Scream. Of course, we will see you next time.